We are live, TJ, Friday night again. I can't believe how quick the weeks are of the Facebook viewers tonight. It's all about Eating Disorder Awareness Week. Hello, TJ.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Busy. It's I think we're about a minute late, weren't we, tonight? Just past 7:30. So hi to my mum that's watching. Hello, mum. Let's get as many viewers watching tonight. So just like and share, because tonight is all about eating disorder awareness. And we're going to talk about that. I was going to have a live guest tonight. Not live, I was going to bring them on camera, but sadly she's lost her voice, TJ.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Dang!
I know. So she was going to come on, Erin, who had experiences of an eating disorder for quite a number of years, and she wanted to share her experiences. But I'm sure Erin is watching, and I'm sure she will type away in the comments and share her thoughts. So hello to all the viewers that are watching tonight. Let's like and share, and let's spread the word, because tonight is all about helping people with eating disorders. And Erin is live. She's saying good evening, everyone. So Erin, I've just explained that you've lost your voice and can't talk, but you're going to do as much as you can, you know, whilst you can type. So, Eating Disorder Awareness Week, because there's several types of eating disorder. Do you know 1.25 million people in the UK are living with an eating disorder?
It's shocking, isn't it? You wouldn't realise that it does affect so many people. But it really does.
It does. Erin's apologising and saying, so sorry, I'll do my best tonight. I know you will. As quick as your fingers can type, Erin, I'll try and read your messages and your comments that you're going to share, because I'm sure you've got much information to give people. I mean, I'll do my best and share my experiences. But yeah, eating disorders, 1.25 million people in the UK are living with an eating disorder. And I think tonight I'm going to kind of look at what is an eating disorder, some common types of eating disorders, because there's many different types, symptoms of those that are experiencing eating disorders, physical signs to look for, warning signs, how to get help, and I will touch upon what causes eating disorders, because there's several things that can cause it. And then I want to conclude the night with an excerpt from a lady, Ivanka, who shared her story about helping her overcome what helped her overcome her eating disorder. Erin is writing, I could never be diagnosed properly as the doctor told me I wasn't underweight enough. That is crazy, isn't it? She's saying doctors need to be trained properly on awareness.
The problem is that you don't seem to be able to get any help until
until it's too late.
Being able to get the help that you truly need.
Absolutely.
It's too far gone. Whereas if you could get the help right in the beginning, it would be so much easier. Absolutely.
And to be not diagnosed, or if you're going to a doctor to say, this is what I'm thinking and this is what I'm feeling and this is my behaviour, the doctor that should have spotted those kind of signs for Erin, even though she wasn't your typical, you know, underweight enough, is crazy, isn't it? And I know Erin used to exercise so much, and I'm sure the people of Bedford would know who I'm talking about when I talk about Erin, because she always used to run. She was like Forrest Gump. She'd run for miles and miles and miles, green hoodie, legs out in the freezing cold, no matter what the weather. And she's saying mine was fueled by excessive running as well, which I'm going to talk about. She used to run all the time, every day, and do you know what? She hasn't run for 2 years, TJ.
Wow, so she's really got control. That's great.
She's got control, and it's a shame she can't come on with her voice tonight and share those experiences, but I'm sure she'll be tapping away and typing away. She says, I had to stop the running, sadly, but that's, I suppose, getting a grip, isn't it, and getting control, as opposed to the running controlling her, or the excessive exercise, or the need to have excessive exercise. She's getting lots of thumbs up there, the fact that she has stopped the running, lots of thumbs up that she's, you know, not run for 2 years. I mean, that's a big achievement. So yeah, I'm going to touch upon, Sian Augustine is with us, and she's saying mine started because of pregnancy. It's interesting, isn't it? Because the bit I'm going to come to is going to be at the end as to what causes eating disorders. And I'm going to write that down actually and add that to it. Pregnancy. I'm going to add that to mine.
Definitely one.
Is that because, and she's saying so many factors involved with eating disorders. I suppose pregnancy could trigger because you get so big, don't you? I mean, I really ballooned, particularly the last couple of months of my pregnancy, but I ballooned everywhere. I was all up front and tummy, but my water retention, my fingers, my swollen feet, my swollen face. I look back at photos and think, my God. And I suppose pregnancy could be a trigger, because if you don't like looking that way, it can be that trigger to say, you know, I need to get my body back. And it can trigger not eating and the start of a eating disorder. She's saying it's morning sickness. Again, yeah, that's one. I get that. Morning sickness can stop you wanting to eat, and therefore it then develops into something more, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely it does.
So, what is an eating disorder, TJ? What do you understand it to be?
So there's various reasons for it, like you say. But it's obviously different people have different types of eating disorders, don't they? So some of them, they're not eating at all. Some people are eating and then purging it out. Other people I saw that there's one where they eat strange things, and I have actually witnessed some people eating things like paper and mud and things and coal. Often it started with the pregnancy, again, strangely enough.
Yeah. Funny you say that. One of my good friends, I don't know if she's watching tonight, but her mum used to eat, you know, like in the wall, she likes lime scale, and she likes plaster, like eating that. Yeah. And now she's quite happy picking away at a wall and eating it, or eating lime scale, you know, from a kettle.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
I don't know if that's an eating disorder, eating strange things, but I've never heard of that. That's something else to consider, TJ. You're educating me tonight.
Yeah. And then there's also the eating where we just keep binge eating, isn't it? And, you know, and we become very overweight, you know, or we subsidise other things in our life and just eat our way into, unfortunately, obesity.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is another eating disorder.
Yeah. Erin is saying, I'm just going to try and read the comments before they disappear. She said, the scary thing is that when you are going through it, you don't believe anyone when they are telling you something's wrong. It's that denial, isn't it? And no matter how much weight I lost, it made me more miserable, even though that's what I was striving for. Sian is saying every day from 4 weeks pregnant, you know, morning sickness, and it caused so much weight loss. She ended up in hospital because of the weight loss. She's saying, I want to try and explain, but it's a lot to type. Erin is saying, I would starve all week and then binge at the weekends and then punish myself by running miles. So Sian is saying, I think it's called PICA, P-I-K-A, I think that's PICA.
Yeah.
And so Sian was saying, so hers was bulimia with big periods of starvation. I actually remember, Sian, you at school losing drastically so much weight at school. I vividly remember it. That I think returning back after a holiday or something, you know, school break, and you coming back and being kind of like half the size. And probably, she's saying I had 2 of my teeth removed from it because of it, because my teeth are now awful, and that's from the bile, isn't it? From when people have bulimia, they're bringing back up, you know, being sick, and it's the bile and all of that erodes the teeth because it's so acidic. So you guys are now starting to talk about the symptoms of it and the effects of it. Erin is saying, my period stopped for 7 years. The punishment I put my body through is shocking to me now. And Sian is saying, yeah, I was really big at school. You weren't really that cool coming through. I just remember that sudden weight loss. with you, Sian, but some of these things that you're sharing, having your teeth removed, periods stopping, are all kind of like the effects of it. And I just want to go through really. So an eating disorder is really, it's a mental health condition, and it's where you use the control of food to cope with feelings and other situations. So it's a coping mechanism for something else, TJ. Do you agree?
It absolutely is.
And anyone can get an eating disorder at any time, but typically it's those aged between 13 and 17, mostly girls, but I'm not saying it doesn't include boys, because it does, but mostly 13 to 17-year-olds are mostly affected. Sian is saying, yeah, like childhood trauma. Anything, I'm going to talk about what causes an eating disorder, but absolutely a childhood trauma. You could be criticised for the shape of your body, and that could trigger the need to stop eating, the need to control your food. But we'll talk about all of that later. But common eating disorders, it's definitely a mental health condition. I want to get tonight people talking about eating disorders and raising awareness, because there's actually so many eating disorders we're not even aware of. Erin is saying it creeps up on you, and I wish someone had noticed the early signs in me. I'd love to hear, Erin, if you're brave enough to share, and I know you would have come on and spoke tonight, but if you could share, what was your cause? What have you identified as to be the cause of the need to control food and punish yourself with excessive exercise and running? I'd really like you to be vulnerable tonight and expose what you actually found out was the cause of it. I'm going to touch upon some of the causes. I want to see if it's one of those causes. It is getting vulnerable. But it's your journey, Erin, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And where you're at now is you're in so much of a better place. And I am so proud of the progress you've made, and the fact that you've put on a couple of stone, you look more healthier, and you've stopped running for 2 years. You've stopped that excessive weight gain. Let's like and share. She deserves a big pat on the back, some stars and thumbs up and wands. And I don't know if you can do some.
Absolutely.
So well done to you, Erin. But
it's a bit like what they just said. Lots of people are well and truly in it before they even realise. And I know you said it affects more girls than men. Actually, there are lots of males out there, and I've seen a few over my time in teaching, and they hide it so well. They're wearing extra clothes and things like that, and not wanting to show anyone. And by the time you find out, it's quite a serious situation. You know, and if people can watch out for those little things, those missed meals, you know, and don't just put it down to they've got taller, or, you know, that they're just coming into their own, they're exercising more, or they're getting excessive. You know, what is going on?
Absolutely, and you're right. You're absolutely right, TJ. It affects men, males, boys, as you know, just like it does females, but it's more hidden, isn't it? We've got a question here from Mamuzi saying, what is normally wrong with someone who stops eating normal food and instead eats the soil as food? It's again going back to what you said at the beginning, isn't it, TJ, that some people, an eating disorder may be the fact that they eat these random things, like I shared earlier. If she's watching tonight, she'll know who she is, but eating limescale or picking off the plaster in a wall and eating, what do you call it? What is it? Plaster? It is plaster. But it's that chalk taste, is that desire, that need, and it may be something that they're deficient in, that their body is craving, which is why they're eating those things.
Well, they do say that, but for some people that it could possibly be true, but other people, I think they try to avoid some food sometimes, and will do something else to take that off their mind. The particular person I'm thinking of used to do it to take it off their mind, and draw the attention away from the food for themselves, and then it just became a habit.
Sean is saying in response to that, because someone's saying, what is wrong with eating, what is wrong with not stop eating your normal food and eating the soil? And Sean said exactly what I've just actually said, is they could be lacking in minerals and nutrients that your body needs. So they crave that mud, or they crave that, if it's chalk or lime, you know, some people eat chalk and chomp on a bit of chalk because they've got this craving, but it might be that their body is lacking in a particular nutrient. Sean is saying there's a rare disorder where only potential dangerous items are eaten, and it's going back to what you said, TJ, isn't it? Like blades and toys, people eating blades and toys. But well, I don't hear of it often, but you know, she's also saying hiding it is really easy, and that's the dangerous thing. And absolutely right, it is dangerous. Erin is, in response to my question, I asked her to get vulnerable because I know she was going to come on live tonight. I want to get the nation talking. Like and share this page so we can hit so many viewers to hear this important information tonight, just to help raise awareness of eating disorders, whether you're parents of children, friends that you know are going through it. Like and share this page. Let's get everyone talking. But Erin is saying, I'm still not 100% sure on my root cause, but I think the media has a lot to do with it. I hadn't been happy with the way I looked for a long time and was bullied at school. Magazine plasters photos of skinny women, which is unachievable because they've all been photoshopped. And she also had a relationship at the time which she had no control over, which I think had a massive hand in it. So there's several kind of triggers there, media being one of them, especially in, you know, we could spend a whole topic, can't we, on the impact of media on mental health in young teenagers today, in adults. TJ.
There's so many magazines, and you know, and it is starting to get better, but it's still there. And the thing is that lots of these people don't even look like that at all. They've been photoshopped
and filtered,
or they've had operations. It's not real.
Yeah, I know. And you see these magazines, you know, big bums are the in thing right now, and you see them in magazines, but they've clearly been just photoshopped and enlarged, and you know, that kind of thing. But common eating disorders is anorexia nervosa, is where you try to control your weight by not eating enough food, exercising too much, or both. It could be a mix of both. Bulimia, which you spoke about, is about losing control over how much you eat and then taking drastic action to not put on the weight, like puking it back up again. And then there's the binge eating disorder, where you're eating large portions of food until you feel uncomfortably full. And then there's other things that when I was doing a bit of research on this, that I found out. There's a thing called OSFED, other specified feeding or eating disorder. And do you know what's the most common disorder where you don't exactly fit one type of expected symptom? So it could be a mix of binging, a mix of puking it up, bulimia, and a mix of not eating enough or exercising too much. It can be a mix, so it's called OSFED, other specified feeding or eating disorder. There's another one here called ARFID, which is avoidance and restrictive food intake disorder, where you avoid certain... Oh, I've lost her. I will get her back. It's avoiding certain foods, limits on how much they eat, or both. There she is. Let's go live with you. I lost you then, TJ. I don't know how far you got with me.
Yeah, I lost you for a few minutes, for a few moments there, but I'm back.
Good. I was talking about OSFED and moving on now to ARFID, which is avoidance restrictive food intake disorder. And that's avoiding certain foods, limits on how much they eat, or it could be a mix of both. And that is things like, you know, avoiding certain foods might be because you have negative feelings or smell or taste or texture of some certain foods. It could also be a response to a past experience with food that was upsetting. For example, you choked on something or you were sick after something. And I can resonate with that. I distinctly remember when I was about 3-4 years old, my dad gave me Horlicks to drink. And I was sick straight away. It was disgusting. And I've never touched Horlicks since. I don't think I've got a disorder with Horlicks. I'm just saying it's just a food that I just remember at that age. Are you there, TJ?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Are you there?
I'm just waiting for you to finish that bit.
Yeah, so Horlicks, I would never touch another bit of Horlicks ever again.
Yeah, and there are foods like that, but I think there's two similar things to this. So I'm thinking there's one very similar to this when people have got sensory issues. So my son's got sensory issues, and he can only eat certain foods because of the way that it smells, it tastes, and the way it looks, and that. So, and no food can touch. And it is a type of disorder, sort of, but it's not. But I know that other people have the disorder you're talking about might only choose to eat carrots all day long and eat nothing more than carrots and starve themselves from everything else. Meaning they're not getting a good balance of food.
A restrictive food intake disorder, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it could be just not feeling hungry or just a lack of, you know, appetite or interest in food. Because there's some people who just turn off food, and pregnancy can cause that. Morning sickness.
When I got pregnant with my first child, I had exactly that. I was so sick all of the time, I couldn't really eat anything. I didn't even look like I was pregnant when I was overdue.
Really?
And when I came out, I couldn't eat anything at all. I went all the way down to 6.5 stone.
Wow.
And I was desperately getting ill, but I just, any smell of food made me
Turned your
feel
tummy.
sick. I just could not eat.
It's funny you say that.
And it's hard to get the help when you actually really need it and get people to take you seriously.
Yeah, that's, I guess, what happened to Sian. You know, she lost so much weight. She said, I got to a size 10 and I'm 6 foot. You know, she felt good but looked awful. I remember when I was pregnant, I couldn't stand the smell of the local, down the road on the high street, the chicken shop, the oil, the smell of oil. And still, if I walk by, it turns my tummy to this day. Because you just have that memory, don't you? It's just like for me, Horlicks from the age of 3-4 years old. I've never drank Horlicks since. And you're talking about your son having sensory things, if there's a certain way it looks or the texture and they won't eat it. I kind of have to sometimes hide the food I'm feeding, particularly breakfast time, to my son, because I think he eats with his eyes and if he doesn't like the look of something, something's all mixed in and mushed in, he won't eat it because it looks unappealing, and therefore won't eat it. Or the look of porridge. Porridge in the morning, particularly, I think you have to just hide the bowl from him and feed him to make sure he's getting his porridge in.
There's also the texture of the food. So, like, my son wouldn't eat mash because he doesn't like that mushy feel, a bit like your son.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I remember when he was a baby, I tried to give him these carrot corn crisps, and his face looked like I had poisoned him. Obviously, you find it a little bit funny at the time, but and I didn't realise quite what that was going to lead on to, but when you see a child with sensory issues, you'll see that they'll pull all sorts of funny faces if you try to give them certain foods. Even just feeling it in their hands, they won't like it.
But is that a disorder or is it normal? Because there's certain, you know, I didn't eat kiwis for years because I didn't like the look of the black bits in them and didn't like the texture. And the same with strawberries. I didn't like the texture of the little seedlings on the strawberries and didn't eat them. But is that a disorder or is that normal?
Some of that is completely normal. I think it goes to how extreme it goes. You know, but those sorts of people still get by. They still eat. But other people that have got the anorexia or the bulimia or even just binge eating, they've got to realise the consequences that come from that. My neighbour passed away from anorexia, and we watched her waste and waste and waste away, and she left a little girl behind. She died at just over 3.5 stone.
Wow.
Her body ate itself, and I don't think a lot of people realise, you know, when they start, if they could get it, maybe they don't even realise the start of it. I mean, she was so slim but wore a lot of baggy clothes. But always saw herself as being very fat, and despite all of the help her family tried to give her, it was a little bit late with the doctors giving her the support she needed.
I suppose, and that's body dysmorphia, isn't it? When you think you're fat, you look in the mirror and you're actually not, but you see something completely different to what everybody else sees. And how did she respond to the help or, friends? Was she in denial? Did she say it's not happening? Did she think she was in control?
She was in denial. She never saw herself as being skinny, and she was very, very thin at the time that I knew her, and then she got even thinner. But when they get to that, she'd already gone past the stage of getting the help. So thinking, when she started, her organs had already started to shut down because it causes so many body effects. And I don't think lots of young girls realise. They just think, I want to go on a diet, and they start that. And hers obviously started with her having a daughter again. And losing a partner and being out of control of her life. And then it just got really, really out of control. But by the time the doctors intervened, everything was already shutting down. And although they tried to put her in hospital and intervene and force feed and things like that, it was already too late, which was, such a sad case, and leaving a child behind, even the child thinking about leaving the child behind, it was just too late. It was very sad.
That is sad. We've got some more comments here, TJ. Erin said, I used to weigh the butter to put on my toast to make sure I had the least calories possible. Jasmine is saying, I didn't have a typical eating disorder. When I was young, I had a lot of anxiety and choked on meat, and it used to scare me to eat, especially any meat. And I got really poorly. I'd have to blend it like a baby or drink a lot with every mouthful and fill myself up. And that's going back to what I said earlier. It's an eating disorder called ARFID, which is avoidance or restrictive food intake disorder, and avoiding certain foods because it may be a response to a past experience where you choked on something, like my Ovaltine Horlicks, whatever it was. I was sick after it at the age of 3 or 4 and has never touched it since, because I remember, I think I was kind of not forced to drink it. I think my dad was like, drink your Horlicks. And I was like, I tasted it, didn't like it, and drink your Horlicks, and forced, I suppose. And I was then sick and have never drank Horlicks since. So that I distinctly remember that feeling. So I've never touched it since. So it's very similar to what Jasmine's saying. She choked on meat, and now, that fear of, or scaring, has stopped her eating meat. She needs to blend it up because she fears she's going to choke again. It's crazy how we remember these things, isn't it? Sean is saying she used to avoid food that required a lot of chewing, so she ate mainly soft foods, and she said, as I knew, I'd purge 20 minutes after. I guess purge is what, being sick?
Yeah.
So you're not bringing up lumps, you're bringing up easy soft foods.
It's easier to be sick with the soft food than it is with lumpier food. It's quite painful with the lumpier food.
Yeah, and like she said, she lost 2 teeth because her teeth are awful because of the sick, the acidic, bile coming up, that kind of thing. Erin is sharing, saying she got to a size 6 and 7 stone 13 at her worst. She's now a size 10, 12 now. And like I said, Erin, a big pat on the back to you. Sean ended up being blue lighted to hospital after tearing her esophagus, which is your bit that takes your food all the way down to your tummy. 75% tear 2 years ago. Wow.
You were really lucky to get through that, so well done.
Yeah. Erin is saying, every time I had a big meal, I'd be so angry with myself and felt so guilty. I'd look in the mirror afterwards and swore at the time that I'd put on a stone on in one go, and I thought I looked bigger just from that one meal. And again, that's body dysmorphia, isn't it? Or that feelings of guilt when you associate your intake of food, especially if you're trying to control food with a condition with anorexia nervosa. But symptoms, I want to touch on symptoms. Spending a lot of time worrying about weight and body shape. What about avoiding socializing when you think food is going to be involved? And some people do that, don't they? Because they don't want to eat in front of other people. Other symptoms, eating very little food, taking laxatives or making yourself sick after you eat. having very strict habits or routines around food.